Time is a silent killer, slowly jarring your reality. The clock is ticking away. It's pretty obvious, I know, but it's so much worse than you think. Today, we're gonna talk about how you most likely don't really think about how quick time passes you by, but maybe you should start caring a lot more. We're also gonna go over 3 tips so at the end of your life, you don't feel like you wasted it all for nothing. These will definitely be able to help us all in the future, even if you don't like the last one.
We have to get on, we have so much time and so little to do. Strike that, reverse it. This way, please.
Time is accelerating. It's not some evil plot from big government or that secret NSA agent hidden inside your walls. It's just our reality. Everything we perceive has to go through our brain. And at the end of the day, if you've only lived for 5 years and I tack on 5 more, that's half of your existence on this planet. But if we've grabbed someone that's already lived 20 years and add on 5 more, that's only a measly 25%. And then the next 5 are only 20%. Look me in the eyes right now and tell me that you don't feel Christmas and your birthday coming quicker and quicker every single year. The reason I talk about these topics is normally because I'm just interested in them. My monkey brain thinks of a random idea, I investigate a little bit deeper into it, and I make a video. Easy. But this topic has always made my skin crawl just a little bit. It's just quite frankly depressing. One thing is contemplating death, that immovable and impenetrable wall that we all eventually arrive at with age, with time being our chauffeur. But another thing is thinking that as we age, that car goes faster and faster and faster until we just splat the fuck up on that wall. Just think about those conversations that you've had with loved ones or family members. It can be your parents, your grandparents, or anyone for that matter. They always seem to say the same thing, that time and life go by just quicker and quicker. But what do we think? Well, for reasons I'm not going to go into too much right now, I for sure thought I'd be dead by the time I was 30. And I know I'm not one of the only ones that felt this way throughout their life, but it's pretty funny now that as I stand on the precipice of my big 3-0, all I can really hear is the rapidly increasing ticking sound of what I can only imagine to be the clock of my life. Time seems to be moving so quickly for some of us, but yet so slowly for others. Are there any reasons as to why I feel my life slipping through my hands like sand on a warm sunny day at the beach? All of a sudden, we just feel like passengers in our lives, with time being the designated driver. And we already know how that story ends. Where do you think we're going? Only forward. If you feel that time keeps coming quicker and quicker as we age, that's because you're absolutely right. There have been studies that have looked into this phenomenon before. And look, not to be that guy that's weirdly obsessed with Christmas or whatever, they've actually done studies where they ask people if they felt that Christmas came around quicker and quicker every single year. Out of the 918 adults asked that question, over 77% said that in fact they did feel that Christmas came every single year faster and faster. That's over 700 people, by the way, for us bad math people. And just in case this was a Catholic conspiracy, reigning in from the Pope himself, they also asked Iraqis the same question about whether or not they felt that Ramadan came quicker every single year. And they got a pretty similar response. It turns out, the more information that our mind processes, the slower time seems to pass. Have you ever been stuck in a class or a lecture or a really bad movie and time just seems to slow down? It feels like time is moving at a snail's pace. Well, that's because our mind is processing an insane amount of information whether we like it or not. I'll give you another one. Whenever we do something outside of our comfort zone, such as traveling or doing cardio for the first time in a really long time, it really does feel like time just slows down. If you don't believe me, I urge you to get on a Stairmaster right now and tell me that 15 minutes doesn't feel like 45 minutes. Minutes pass like hours there, I promise. When was the last time you did something that relaxed you or you really enjoyed? I'd put money on the fact that it went by pretty quickly if it's something you do routinely. Whenever we stay in our comfort zone and place, time flies by. A 3 to 4 hour gaming session with the homies back in the day felt like days and days at a time. But right now, it's really hard to get 30 minutes in, or even a hey bro, because the half hour already ran out. Is it all just in our imagination? No, not at all. Time pretty much does pass by like this. If we let ourselves have no new experiences, our brain is basically just put into rest mode. And that's because when we create no new stimulus for the brain, well, nothing really happens. And that's the problem. This is a huge reason as to why everything as a child was amazing. Everything was brand new. If we mix this in with the fact that as kids, we had no real idea of what 15 minutes actually was, it is understandable as to why we do have a warped perception of time. It even affects our social media use. That's why whenever you see a brand new editing style or a brand new type of content, you immediately perk up. That's not an accident. It's your brain snapping out of the rhythm and actually telling you to pay attention. New is cool and old is dead. But look, like I said in previous videos, I'm no damn nihilist. So instead of wallowing in our sorrows and pity, I say we shift over real quick to some solutions. Well, technically not solutions because we're all gonna eventually, but anyway. Number 1, new experiences. Not to sound like an ADHD or stimming, even though I am, but you have to find out something that excites you. When we're young, everything is new and a surprise. Hell, when I was a kid, I used to get excited to just walk around with my dad at the mall and see the weird stuff that they sold. We literally saw the iPhone go into existence. Insane. Point is, new things were happening every single day. Find a hobby that's a little bit more upbeat and fresh to give your brain some novelty. And if you don't have time to find a new hobby or do something new, well then spice it up at the workplace. Find something that works for you. Number 2, protect your time by saying no. I saw this in an article, but it's pretty funny to me because I personally don't struggle with this, but I do know that a lot of people do struggle with actually saying no sometimes. I recently talked in a video about why you really shouldn't spend time doing things that you just don't want to do. So if you want some more info, go up here, but I digress. Learn to actually do things that you enjoy and stop being an NPC in people's lives. If Becky wants to go to the beach and you hate the beach, don't go to the beach. Say no. Offer up another plan or solution, or just don't go. It's up to you at the end of the day. You have to decide what is more important to you, their time or your time. Number 3, número 3. This one may seem pretty lame, but for me, it's actually the most important one. Just accept and be present of what's happening while we're on this marble that's spinning in space. It stands to reason that if we do nothing with our lives, it's gonna pass by pretty quick. And this can come in many shapes and sizes. You don't actually have to pray and search for a higher being, but it could be anything from a dopamine detox to journaling to basic mindfulness exercises. The point here is to try to consciously understand that we're just a blip of time. And this is so much easier said than done, by the way. You have to understand that time is relative, or at least our perception of it is. 60 seconds right now mean a completely different thing for you now than it did 15 years ago. Embrace every waking second of your existence, because it's the only one that you're gonna get. This doesn't mean, by the way, that I'm not scared of death. Quite the contrary, actually. But it does mean that I won't wait and sit for time to consume my consciousness and existence. I'm way more scared of living an uneventful life than I am of being put 6 feet under. I can assure you that. It doesn't matter if you're 15, 30, or 45. The point is to have awareness. You have to realize how time affects your perception of reality and how it can become a silent killer in your life. There's not much we can do at the end of the day. Unless Brian Johnson finds a cure for immortality, there's not much we can do. We're pretty much destined to be linear. Enjoy the small blip that we are, even if it's just a little bit shorter than it really should be. Peace.
I seen you through the process. I don't really want no problems. Niggas ain't got no merit. Niggas ain't got no posture. Round here.